Now we come to development of uterus. Development of uterus is mesodermal in origin and it develops from the uterovaginal canal, and this uterovaginal canal is formed by the fusion of two paramesonephric ducts. This primitive uterus is developing from the fusion of paramesonephric duct, and here it is the uterovaginal canal which is developing into the uterus. It will also form the cervix and upper one-third of the vagina. Initially, when the uterus develops, the part of the body is smaller as compared to the cervix. But during puberty, the size of the body increases and cervix becomes smaller as compared to the body. And the junction between two fallopian tubes, junction between two paramesonephric ducts here, this angular region become convex. Further, it becomes convex and it forms the fundus of the uterus. Myometrium of the uterus is derived from the surrounding mesoderm. Here you can see there is fusion of the two paramesonephric duct which will form the uterovaginal canal, and this uterovaginal canal will form the uterus, cervix and upper part of the vagina. And initially when these two paramesonephric ducts fuses, initially there is a septum present between these two, that is called as uterine septum. Further, this uterine septum will disintegrate and formation of the lumen of the uterus. And this is the angular junction between two paramesonephric duct. Gradually it becomes convex and it forms the fundus of the uterus. Now this uterovaginal canal, it produces an elevation into the dorsal part of the urogenital sinus. That elevation is called as Mullerian tubercle. This Mullerian tubercle stimulates the urogenital sinus to produce sinovaginal bulbs. So sinovaginal bulbs are derivative of urogenital sinus. These sinovaginal bulb will lead to formation of the vaginal plate. This vaginal plate will get canalized and there will be formation of the vagina. So upper one-third of the vagina is formed by uterovaginal canal and lower two-third of the vagina is formed by urogenital sinus. Here you can see there is fusion of the two paramesonephric duct and uterine septum is there in initial phases. Gradually this septum will disintegrate and formation of the lumen of the uterus. Now we come to congenital anomalies of the uterus. In the first condition, we can see here there are two uterus with the two cervix and the two vagina. This condition is called as double uterus condition is called as uterus didelphus. The first condition is due to lack of fusion of the paramesonephric duct and the sinovaginal bulb. So there will be two uterus, two cervix and the two vagina. The second condition, in this condition, paramesonephric ducts fail to fuse but they are close to each other. In this condition there will be two uterus, two cervix but vagina is single. This is also uterus didelphus. Didelphus means double uterus condition. The third condition, it is called as biconjugate uterus. In this condition there are two uterus but single cervix and the single vagina. Here each cornea of the uterus is opening into each fallopian tube. So one fallopian tube open into each horn of the uterus. And the last condition is called as uniconjugate uterus. In this condition, half of the uterus is missing and one horn of the uterus with one fallopian tube will persist because one paramesonephric duct degenerates in this condition. So only half of the uterus with half of the uterus and cervix and vagina is persisting, and they are developing from single paramesonephric duct. So these are the anomalies of the uterus and vagina. Now if we compare the development of male and female genital system, first one, in case of male, medullary cords will form the testis, and in case of female, cortical cords or cortical sex cord cells will form the ovary and medulla will regress. Here the tunica albuginea is formed, but in case of female there is no tunica albuginea, so Tusculomic epithelium continue to proliferate and form the cortical sex cord cells or the secondary generation sex cord cells, which will further form the primordial follicle and the cortex of the ovary. Now here the ducts. In case of male, mesonephric duct and the mesonephric tubules will form the genital duct of male. Like mesonephric tubules will form the vasa efferentia of the testes, and mesonephric duct will form epididymis, vas deferens, seminal vesicle and ejaculatory duct. In case of female, mesonephric duct will regresses, and here mesonephric tubules will persist as epiphoron and periphoron. Rest of the mesonephric tubules will degenerate, and mesonephric duct, this mesonephric duct will form the Gardner cyst. Now paramesonephric duct, in case of female, it will regress due to Mullerian inhibiting substance, and it will persist as a remnant is called as appendix of testis, this radition. And here the Mullerian duct or the paramesonephric duct will persist, and it will form the fallopian tube and uterus and upper 1/3 of the vagina. So that's all about development of male and female genital system.